question of money, wealth, in beloved Barber's ministry is an interesting one. Throughout his ministry, Barber was very serious in regard to money. As he said, "I am the fakir, yet you have no idea how much money has flowed through my hands." From some he accepted money. From some he accepted money and then returned it returned it as his prasad to be used wisely in their own life. Mm-hmm. And from some he refused money even to the extent of seeing that it was forcibly given back. A Bible lover was asked by Barber to purchase aniseed tablets for the Bombay group before coming the next morning to be with him. The next morning he told Barber a tablet had been given to each, and he asked how much had they cost. He replied that he was not sure, and when he questioned her how much change the pharmacist had given her from 100 rupee note, she again replied she did not count. Barber warned her, "Remember, always count your change. Never trust anyone, not even your parents, no one. Even if I give you some amount, count it. Don't trust even me regarding money." I was one of the small group of Western men who stayed at Mehrabad in 1954. One day, with all the group present, Barber signalled out an Indian, a close one in his love, and said, "This man loves me very much, but in his love and fervour for my cause, he has created a burden on me. In his desire to spread my name and message more and more, he has borrowed money and now has a large debt. This is of concern to me on his behalf for his family and their welfare." This was conveyed by Barber in a serious manner and was clearly intended as a lesson to us all. Yet he also seemed to me to give comfort and forgiveness to the man in expressing it openly as he did, and the incident finished with an embrace from Barber for the man. It has been, this was a little anecdote from Sam Kerawalla. It may have been during a period of leave, 1963, that Mayurji's driver was injured in a car accident and hospitalised at Way, a town quite some distance from Pune. Barber asked Sam to go and check on his condition and treatment, and directed that 10 rupees be given to Sam for his expenses. Sam replied that he had his own money, but Barber said, "No, your money is not yours, it is mine, and my money is yours, so take the 10 rupees. When you return, give an item by item account of your expenditure to Erich." This Sam did, finding that the amount was ample for the expenses of the journey. Yet even into the subject of money, beloved Barber injected humour at times. Sam Kerawalla had purchased a car, but finding that it absorbed money and precious time in his short periods of short leave, surely.
Sure.
Was greatly relieved when Barber called for it to be given to him for his work. He happily handed it over, thinking the financial strain was over, and then contentedly sat with the Mundley in Barber's embracing love. He thought it would all be Barber's headache. A little time passed with spiritual chit-chat, when Barber suddenly turned to Sam, saying, "Look here, that great black monster you have brought and thrown on my chest. Who is going to pay for the gas, for the repairs if something goes wrong?" And while saying this, Barber turned out the pockets of the coat he had on. "You can see I have no money, so from the money you have with you, keep enough for the bus fare home and give the rest to Erich. He will inform you regularly of the expenses incurred, and you are to send the amount to me." And this is what happened until Barber one day directed that the car be sold to the first bidder. In 1968, another of Barber's close lovers died. He was Kishan Chind Gujwani, a very prosperous businessman who had over the years contributed much to Barber for his work, for example, in his financial support of the Bombay Centre. He came to Barber through another well-to-do businessman of Bombay, Saurabji Singhanpuria, who had established the Bombay Centre, and Gujwani over time became very drawn to beloved Barber. Even in old age, he looked and acted the picture of health, and once Barber asked him if he slept at night. He replied that he had no trouble sleeping, but that he slept only 3 hours a night. With Barber's questioning gesture, he said that he meditated on Barber until midnight, slept until 3 o'clock, and then again meditated on Barber, thinking of him, repeating his name, until preparing to go to the office. He had 2 or 3 large factories. Barber expressed surprise at so little sleep, but Gujwani said that he always felt fresh and active with that amount. Barber was very happy to hear this, commenting to the others how straight and fit he appeared despite being in his 80s. Barber then said that he was happy with his love and with all that he did in his cause, and that he should love him more and more. A few days after this meeting, Gujwani died of a heart attack in the early hours of the morning. In the early 60s, at one of the darshan gatherings in Gurprasad, Dr. Deshmukh suddenly jumped to his feet and asked Barber if he would come again to Nagpur, his home city, and give darshan to the public. Deshmukh was very bold with Barber, and Barber tolerated this trait, possibly because he was also very innocent in his love for Barber. This move of Deshmukh's then, of course, gave courage to numerous others to rise and plead that beloved Barber should also visit their home places. Barber allowed these lively requests to continue for a while, and then told all to sit down, adding this was not the time for such a program. However, Deshmukh was very persistent, and on every opportunity would stand up in the assembly and ask Barber, in effect, "What about my request that you come to Nagpur?" He was, as said, very bold. Perhaps a year went by in this manner, until one day, totally unexpected, Barber announced that he would, after all, do a tour of India and come as Deshmukh requested to Nagpur. This, of course, produced a flurry of excitement, and Barber then directed that Erich write down the names of those men who would accompany him to Nagpur. Erich began as ordered, and as the list got longer and longer to a total of some 40 names, it was observed that Deshmukh's face also got longer and more dismayed, particularly when Barber directed that he, Deshmukh, should arrange board, food and transport for them all. After this, Barber looked at Deshmukh and gestured, "Now you must be very happy seeing that I'm coming to Nagpur." But Deshmukh had another characteristic, and that was an intense dislike to spend money. The prospect of providing for so many quite stunned him, and he stammered out barely a reply. Barber looked surprised and asked, "What is the matter? Aren't you happy?" Very hesitantly, Deshmukh replied, "Yes, Barber, but I won't be able to afford such an occasion." Barber thoroughly enjoyed his discomfort and silently laughed. Now Gujrani was also present in the gathering, and he then jumped to his feet, saying he would bear all the expenses of Barber's visit to Nagpur. At this, Barber gestured to Deshmukh, "Look how willing Gujrani is to pay for the visit. Couldn't you have done likewise? And Gujrani has only recently come to me, and see his attitude." All this brought forth much amusement for everyone, except, of course, Deshmukh. The general excitement over the proposed tour continued for some time, and many sought Barber to come to their place too. Suddenly, Barber said one day that the tour was cancelled. Everyone's face dropped, but accepted the news as their beloved Barber said that he had his own reasons for the cancellation, and all should accept his wish. Later, in the smaller gathering room of Guru Prasad, Gujrani told Barber that he had put aside the money for the cancelled tour, and that now what should he do with it? Barber replied that he should keep it, that he would be told when to bring it to him, and there the topic closed. The next year at Guru Prasad, Gujrani again brought up the question of the money, and Barber directed that it should be willed to him in Gujrani's will. Gujrani happily agreed. After his death, his family unexpectedly came to Barber at Maharazad to pay their respects, and despite his strict seclusion, they were allowed to see him. At this time, the eldest son spoke of the money left to Barber in his father's will, and Barber gestured that if that was so, it could be placed at his feet. But the son said that he did not have the money with him now, and that he would send it. Barber accepted this and said that after returning to Bombay, he could send the amount to Adi Senior's office. Time passed, and on one of Adi Senior's visits to Maharazad, he mentioned to Barber that he had not received the money, and asked if Barber wanted him to write to the son and remind him of the debt. Barber directed that he should do so. The son replied, acknowledging again the debt, but said he did not have the sum at the moment, adding that he would send it when he had it. Again time passed and no money from the son. When Adi reminded Baba of this, Baba said not to write further, and with a twinkle in his eyes he gestured, "No, let it be. That amount at compound interest will be a tidy sum for me when I can return in 700 years." To my own great good fortune, Baba concerned himself over my financial position. There have been two distinct financial periods in my life. The first period, one of financial struggle, and the second of financial security. This second period began distinctly and precisely with my stay in 1967 at Marizad with beloved Baba. During that time, he questioned me on my finances, specified the amount I was to earn, showing as he did so a loving concern for the family's welfare. And then near the end of my stay said to me, "If you ever need money, come to me and I will see to it." At the time, I thought nothing more than that this statement was the concern of a loving father in a possible critical financial position in the future. And it never occurred to me that Baba would not be with us, as it were, forever. Baba had reminded me of my family responsibilities, and he then ensured on my return that I earned sufficient, despite the incredible increase in Baba work that occurred with his compassionate turning of the key. But even more astonishing was that almost immediately after he dropped the body, he inspired the beginning of a Baba business, which not only provided for the family, but also enabled me to work more fully towards his emphasized wishes to spread his name and message and to develop Avatar's abode as a place of world pilgrimage. By his grace, the money needed to fulfill his wishes has never, ever failed to come to hand. This is true, yet there was a time when I became overconfident in the abundant flow of his money and sought development beyond the need at the time. In his mercy, he rescued me from financial disaster and at the same time gave me a very good lesson. Cling to his feet and do not try running ahead of him. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.